It's getting to the end of fourth day at reInvent, but we're still talking to awesome people. Welcome to Ollie Pomeroy. Ollie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. Your first reInvent, you were saying?
Yeah, first reInvent.
So much smaller than you expected?
Yeah. No, it's big. It's
cool.
Big. My first few days were like down on the south side of the strip.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a manageable size conference. This is okay.
Yeah.
But now I've come up to the north side of the strip and seen the Venetian.
You're like, oh, there's another whole part of it.
Yeah.
So you're also a developer advocate. We're in a bigger team as well, and
Indeed.
you look after Fargate and containers and things like that.
Yes.
So what's the focus in that kind of world being a reInvent?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I work in part of the Fargate team, specifically looking at some of the container runtime
Well, 2 seconds, just explain Fargate. Sort of, Let's honestly, people watching know what Fargate is.
That's a fair point. Yeah. So Fargate is serverless compute for containers. So it's like a data plane for containers managed by AWS. So you schedule your containers through Amazon ECS, or you schedule them through Amazon EKS, and then Fargate behind the scenes is a managed data plane. So we'll just run those containers on single-use, single-tenant instances, and then whenever your workload's done,
they just go away.
Instances go away. So you don't have to worry about AMIs, patching, scaling, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So you've been talking obviously about performance and everything. That's a big critical thing this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things we're talking a lot about this week is, I guess, Fargate startup times. Yeah. The same way that when people talk about Lambda, they talk about some of the cold start stuff. We have similar conversations on the container side around Fargate task startup times. And so some of the work we've been doing this year is all around how we can reduce it, and specifically how we can stream container images or lazy load container images rather than download them all at the same time.
Hey, because there are two aspects I know of that, is that a container image has a sort of fixed size, but actually not much of it is necessarily used initially, or the container will be this size, and only that much is used. And then when you're initially reading, it's only tiny little bits of it. So yeah, that's all seekable OCI. Right. How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like traditionally, when to start a container, you download all of the container image up front. And as people have been packaging more and more things in containers, things like machine learning models, big data processing models, container images are now big, ballooning. Like when I first started getting into them, it was, how small can you go? Get a nice sort of Rust API in there.
All building microservices.
100%. And now we're talking gigs.
Well, the containers I was thinking of containers as a bit of an overloaded word, because they've got lots of different things. And containers is about small microservices, but also the portability. Yes. So if you do have a big machine learning model and you need to copy it elsewhere, containers are a great way to do that. So,
Like even this week I was talking to like a customer that wanted to put their machine learning model in. I was like, oh, how big is your machine learning model? He went 40 gigs. And I was like, okay, well, look at alternatives. But like that just shows the appetite out there for
larger containers.
Yeah, absolutely. And so because larger container images impact container startup times, we were looking at how we can reduce it. And there's some really interesting academic studies out there that found that only 6% of data in a container image is typically used for the application to run.
So not much.
So a lot of the data that we're downloading, and it's a study that kind of averaged out, so it's different for different application types. But a lot of the time, we're downloading data that you don't need for the application to perform. So we then started up saying, well, how can we almost just-in-time data when it's needed? And that led us down the path to SQL OCI, which is an open source project that AWS released in 2022. That is a way for us to extract files from a container image while it's in the registry, rather than downloading
the whole thing in advance.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you can't be deterministic about how quickly that's going to speed things up. But I mean, if a single container is loading and you need to load one meg from a container image to boot up an operating system or something, I mean, that's going to be super quick. So
yeah, absolutely. Like most of the sessions this week, we've been demoing a PyTorch workload.
Okay.
And so from the machine learning side of things, and just on Fargate, it's about 74% quicker to lazy load it than not lazy load it from nothing to running container. And that just kind of shows the impact you can have and the amount of data in the container image that isn't required on boot.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be interesting if people are going to land up being less methodical about what they put in their container image, because SQL OCI, one of these.
Yeah, it is interesting because up until this, we've spent a lot of time talking about optimizing image sizes, choosing your base images, removing dependencies. You are right. We are
But it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah, it is a bit of both, because at the end of the day, you are still paying to store container images. And with lazy loading, after the container has started, behind the scenes, we download the full image anyway. Because we want to remove the dependency on the registry, just in case there's a network issue or something further down the line.
So it's the background task, which is data transfer and all that.
Yeah, right. So if you do have large images, you're still paying to store and transfer those around. It's not saving network costs. Instead, it's improving boot time.
Cool. Well, Ollie, thanks so much teaching us all about Fargate and SQL OCI. If you want to find out more information, where's a place I can have a look?
Yeah, really good question. So if you put in a search engine, SQL OCI or SOCI, S-O-C-I, you'll find all sorts of awesome resources. The code is open source. There's lots of interesting blogs out there. So yeah, go check it out.
Cool, excellent. Well, thanks so much for spending time on Serverless Video. We're nearly getting to the end of reInvent, so we can sit down and relax. But yeah, thanks so much for spending time.
No problem. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Oh, sorry.